Hey, if you've had a hysterectomy, you've likely heard this. If you are talking to a doctor about hormones, you've probably also heard the same thing. If you don't have a uterus, you don't need progesterone. Wrong. Now, girl, I need you to hear me when I say this. That is most likely one of the most damaging myths in women's hormone care that you're going to hear. And I cannot tell you the amount of times I've heard it. What do you need to know? Progesterone is not a uterine hormone. Let that sink in. It's a whole friggin' body hormone. And millions of women, millions of us are going without it. Because someone, somewhere, don't know who, reduced it to a job that it was never only doing. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 different things progesterone does in your body that have absolutely nothing to do with your uterus. Your mood, your blood pressure, your bones, your inflammation levels, your thyroid, and your blood sugar. And if you've been on estrogen-only HRT, hormone therapy, hormone replacement therapy, and still do not feel like yourself, this video might give you some clues as to why. Go get a notebook. You might need to write this down to take to your provider or talk to your besties about next Mahjong night. God knows that's all we talk about at Mahjong for the most part. All right, first let me explain where this faulty idea came from. Because it's not completely made up. Progesterone does protect our uterine lining. When you take estrogen, it can cause the lining of the uterus to thicken. Without progesterone to balance it, the thickening can become a cancer risk. So yes, if you have a uterus, progesterone is absolutely necessary with your estrogen. But the problem is what happened next. Doctors, God love them, took that one protective function and used it to conclude that progesterone had only one job: protect the uterus. No uterus, no progesterone. And dare I say that logic is incomplete at best. And guess who's paid the price? And there's also an important distinction to make here before we go any further, okay? There are 2 very different things that often get called the same name: bioidentical progesterone and synthetic progestins. Bioidentical progesterone is chemically identical to the hormone that your body makes. Synthetic progesterones are lab made. These are compounds that act like progesterone, but are not the same thing. They don't convert to the same thing. They don't convert to calming neurosteroids in your brain, which, let's be real, we want that. And they carry different risks. And there's definitely responsible for a whole lot of bad press that got unfairly pinned on natural progesterone. Let me say it again. Progestins are not progesterone. Did you write that down? All right, we're going to start with the one that I think is probably the most important and personal for a lot of us. It's our fucking mood. Progesterone converts in your brain into something called allopregnanolone. Allopregnanolone is a neurosteroid, and it works directly with your GABA receptors. And GABA is your main calming system. It is your brake pedal for anxiety and overstimulation. So when progesterone drops, your allopregnanolone drops with it. Your GABA system loses support. No, we don't want to lose support. And anxiety, irritability, and depression can follow. I bet rage is in there too. Research published in peer-reviewed journals has shown that allopregnanolone has significant antidepressant and anti-anxiety effects. In fact, the FDA approved a drug called Progesterone in 2019. And this was developed specifically or used specifically for postpartum depression. Postpartum depression, I suffered from that. And that drug is a synthetic form of allopregnanolone. This is the same neurosteroid that your body makes from progesterone. So if and when your doctor says that progesterone does not affect your mood, science says otherwise, and it might be time to walk the fuck out or educate them and then see if they're open. Maybe start with educating. I don't know. Your call. The drop in progesterone in perimenopause is directly connected to anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression is directly connected. And that can show up in your 30s. And almost nobody's connecting it to hormones. Did you know progesterone receptors exist in your blood vessels? Progesterone, I get so tongue-tied with all these big words. Progesterone supports healthy vascular tone, aka it helps your blood vessels relax, and it does this by supporting nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is what keeps your blood vessels flexible and open. When progesterone drops, the vascular system support does too. This is one of the reasons that blood pressure tends to go up in perimenopause and menopause. Mind-blowing, isn't it? And this is not just about getting older. It's about literally losing a hormone that was helping your cardiovascular system. Most women know probably that estrogen helps your bones. What most of us don't know is that progesterone plays its own separate part in bone health as well. In case you didn't know, your bones are in a constant state of breaking down and rebuilding. The cells that break down the bone are called osteoclasts, and the cells that rebuild new bone are called osteoblasts. Progesterone directly stimulates the osteoblasts, which rebuild the bone. It signals new bone growth. Progesterone signals new bone growth. Estrogen slows the breakdown. Progesterone drives the building. You need both for healthy bone density. So when your progesterone declines in perimenopause, often before estrogen does, your bone building slows down. We don't want that. Yes, even when estrogen is still present. This is part of why osteoporosis risk begins earlier than most of us knew, were told, or have learned. And it is a piece of the picture that estrogen-only HRT does not fully address. As I'm filming this, I have my windows and my doors open. I decided to do it in my robe, and I'm sure you could probably hear my wind chime that I inherited from my grandmother on my front porch, and I apologize if you can hear my puppy chewing on her bone, but it's the only way I can come here and talk to you. It's the only way I can talk without her needing me. She is the definition of Velcro dog, and she's not even my dog. She's my partner's, but I apologize. All right, now we're going to go into inflammation, and I talked about this in the perimenopause content that I did on the 82 symptoms of perimenopause. If you haven't seen it, go back, check it out. It is worth knowing. And I'm going to say it again here because it matters. Progesterone is anti-inflammatory. It also has a natural diuretic effect. It calms immune overreactions. It helps regulate inflammatory signals. These signals that drive joint pain, brain fog, skin flares, and 100 other symptoms that we call perimenopause. And remember, estrogen is also anti-inflammatory. So, when both are dropping, your body loses two major sources of inflammation control. Are you starting to put the puzzle together? Good. At the same time. That sucks. Not bad luck. It sucks. This is your hormonal mechanism built inside your body. But girl, there are solutions. Don't despair. Hang on a little bit longer. All right, next, this one stops a lot of people. Progesterone plays a role in your thyroid function. It acts as an intermediary in thyroid hormone production. It helps your body use thyroid hormones more effectively. Women in perimenopause develop thyroid symptoms. Shall we go through them again? Fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, cold sensitivity. They go to the doctor, they check the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormones. TSH comes back looking normal. Doctor says thyroid's fine. But what if the thyroid hormones are there and the problem is that progesterone is too low and the body can't use it properly because it's too low? This is not a fringe idea, not woo-woo. There is a known correlation between progesterone decline and reduced thyroid function. It shows up clearly after childbirth when progesterone drops 400% after delivery, which is exactly why the postpartum thyroid testing became standard care. Now, the drop in perimenopause is less drastic, but it's consistent. And it's not getting looked at in the context of thyroid symptoms. All right, last one, and this is connected to everything else. Progesterone, supports your insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity is how well your cells respond to insulin and how well they take in blood sugar from your bloodstream. When progesterone is low, your insulin sensitivity can decline in the crapper. Your blood sugar can become harder to regulate and energy crashes, income cravings, fat storage around the middle. And this connects directly to the metabolic shift of perimenopause that we talk about so much in this space, that I love to talk about in this space. Girl, it is not just estrogen driving this shift. Change that in your brain, please. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that anymore. Progesterone's in the picture too. Take me back to Catholic school days. Okay, progesterone receptors exist in your brain, in your bones, in your blood vessels, in your immune cells, in your thyroid pathway, and in the cells that regulate your blood sugar. You are welcome. Thank you. Hallelujah. We're done. Progesterone is a whole body hormone. Now, telling a woman she doesn't need it's fucking hilarious. Just because she doesn't have a uterus, you should ask them if they knew where the uterus was. You know how many doctors have told me where my uterus is and they were way off? Anyway, that is for another day. Telling a woman that she does not need progesterone because she does not have a uterus is wrong. It is incorrect. It's like telling someone they don't need vitamin D because they already have strong arms. Have you ever heard that one? I hope not. If you do hear that one, run the fuck out, okay? The logic does not hold. So if you are on estrogen-only HRT and still feel off, maybe now you know why. Bring this to your provider. Write it down. Take it to them. Send them to my video. I don't know. But I suggest that you ask specifically about bioidentical progesterone, not synthetic progestins. My nurse practitioner had the best at heart when we started this, but she put me on synthetic progestins before I knew what she had prescribed when I was just dipping my toes in this water. I immediately messaged her and was like, hey, I want progesterone, not progestins. Fixed it. Good to go. Bioidentical progesterone. And girl, if your provider dismisses you, walk the fuck out. Or ask them to look into it. And if they are willing, great. And if they're not, time to find a new one. Girl, you deserve a provider who knows the whole picture or who is willing to learn it with you, not just the part that's convenient to teach. Now, as always, nothing I share here is medical advice. I am not a doctor. I'm a motherfucking guinea pig. I'm a coach. I have a master's in sport and health science, and I'm a holistic nutrition student. And I'm just a woman with 2 adult daughters living through this in real time. Maybe they're adults. I don't know. 18 to 21? Does that count? Do your own research. Find your own rabbit holes. Find a provider who listens. There are resources out there. If you need some, message me. I'm going to help you. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And girl, if you haven't done something to love yourself today, please go do that. And if you're stuck, if you don't know what that looks like, if you need some ideas, drop me a message. I will help a girl out. All my love. Until next time, enjoy that progesterone.